off the side of my head, it looked like an eagle.
Good. I got mine. Good to go.
Good to go. We're live.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the BBL Show. I'm your host, Tony Camper, and let me welcome my guest host, Larry Carter.
Hey, everybody.
All right, and today we have a special guest. She goes by the name the Viking Princess, Miss Jessica Huttig. What's going on?
Hey, thank you guys so much for bringing me on the show here. I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm so excited to talk to everybody and talk about vintage strength and kettlebell sport and all kinds of cool alternative forms of fitness.
Well, it's great having you. We know you got a lot to talk about, and not just that, but what you have to talk about is definitely not your normal, I power lift, I bodybuild, things like that. It's definitely its own unique spectrum. So, first off, I saw you in the Barbell Life a lot, posting some of your kettlebell stuff and photos and things like that, and that's when I first, you caught my eye. Usually I ask people that are in the group, first question I ask them is, how did you end up in the group? How did you find the Barbell Life?
I actually think somebody invited me into the group, so it just came up as a notification that I had been added or some kind of I don't know how I stumbled across it, but I ended up in it, and I'm like, hey, cool, this is like all kinds of people that lift. Like, wow, I love it.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I tend to do that. I find people, you know how you have the little friends pop-up thing, I'll add whatever, so that's pretty cool. So you've been in for a while. Let me ask you, how did you get into this whole health and fitness lifestyle? Like, where did it all start?
Okay, so it all started, probably like way back in high school, and I never had a really long attention span, and I was never really good at sitting still. Yeah, so I always turned to sports. Like sports and gym class were my absolute favorite classes, and I actually, I hear kids today like, oh, I have to go to gym. I'm like, no, I signed up for an extra gym class because you could run around and play and be bouncing off the walls, and that's what you were supposed to do. So it really started back then, and I was a 3-season athlete. In high school, so in the fall I had a sport. I played field hockey. In the winter I did cheerleading, and in the spring I did crew. So I was a rower, and I did that all through college. And after college, like, it's kind of funny because you're like, well, now where do I find sports? Where do I find athletics? And I sort of felt like I didn't have a home. But I found a friend who went to the gym, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll go to the gym too. And I'm like, well, what do you do at the gym? She's like, oh, I lift. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess then I lift too, because I stayed at home my first year of college, so there's absolutely nothing to do. So I'm like, yeah, like, I go to the gym and I lift too. And I was amazed at the transformation in my body. And when I went to UConn main campus, I rode crew again. And, it just seemed like that's where I always found home. And I've always loved lifting. And, I've always identified with myself as, the big, strong girl. Like, I've always been big, but I was like, it's okay because I'm strong, I have muscle. So that was always what I identified myself with.
What do you mean by you've always been big? Like, are you tall? Are you?
So I'm about 5'7". I'm a little bit lower right now because I'm cutting to make weight. And that's actually kind of a funny story too. But I've always run around 170, 175 pounds, and for a woman who's 5'7", that's all. People are like, whoa, wow, that's a lot to weigh, and I'm like, yeah, but I can outlift you, so
5'7" is pretty tall for a woman. It's considered tall compared to average height.
Yeah, well, so it's tall. I don't know. I've never been on the small end. I've always, I don't know. I've always been more muscular, but whenever anyone has made a comment, I'm like, okay, go ahead. What do you want to deadlift?
That's why
Yeah.
they call
So
you a Viking princess. You can't be a Viking
Yeah, that's what I
and be
was saying. Is
small.
that where the nickname came from?
no, that actually came from when I learned when I went to the instructor course. That's actually a really recent nickname. And when I went to the instructor course for the AKA Mace, and somebody had just said, my coach threw out the name. She's like, oh, well, I'm going to call myself Lady Gada. And I'm like, damn, she has a cool name and I don't have anything. Because the Indian name for a mace is a gada. So I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And she's got this cool, like, sparkly red T-shirt with, a picture of this silhouette of a woman holding a mace over her head. It's really kind of cute. And I'm like, shoot, I don't have a name. Like, what could my name be? And then somebody's like, oh, yeah, well, you're the Viking princess. I'm like, oh, my gosh, like the Viking princess and, like, sparkles and pink. And, like, that's perfect because I would love to be the Viking princess.
Yes. Anything.
So that actually... Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of cool. Like, it was the tough Viking, but then I'm a princess, and so that's where that nickname came from.
I like it, and it's
Thanks.
fitting that you're part of the Barbies crew too. So
Yeah.
So you started going to the gym. You started getting into
Mhm.
it. You liked it. When did it go from just being something you were into to actually becoming a passion?
Okay, so it was really when I found kettlebell sport, and that was kind of an interesting story because I had been a Zumba instructor, I had been a spin instructor, and I have this amazing ability. I don't know if it's amazing or a little bit warped, but I have this really great ability to look at my body, and no matter what weight I am, I'm like, damn, you look good. Like, wow,
Yeah.
you're like pretty, so like a lot of people would be like, whoa, like, I'm like, no, yeah, my butt looks big in these pants. Thank you very much. So, but I was in the gym all the time, and I was lifting, I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but my diet was absolutely out of control. So I had gotten up to 209 pounds, and I didn't really notice it until I saw a picture. Got involved in a nutritional company and went to their big event, and I saw one of their sponsored athletes on stage. And I was just like, kettlebell sport, wow, that's really weird. Who would do that? But she looks like she's having a great time, so you go, like, you do that. A few months later, I started working out at a gym, and the owner of the gym was going to do this kettlebell competition. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Two people in the world have come into my life with this really odd, strange sport. So I asked him, I said, well, what's this all about? And he's like, oh, I could see you doing long cycle. I'm like, I don't even know what long cycle is. Can you tell me? So, if you don't know, it's one of the events in kettlebell sports, and it's a clean. So you clean the kettlebell, then you jerk it, drop it down to your shoulder, and you do that for 10 minutes. And so I started practicing that, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. So he was a beginner. He was trying to teach me, and it just wasn't working. So I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to this lady I know. We're going to talk about kettlebells, because who's going to drive 2.5, 3 hours to train with a coach? Like, that's just ridiculous. And she reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you come down and train at my gym? Which would be better, this Saturday or next? And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, I am not going to come to New Jersey and train. So I thought, oh, I'll do it far out, and I'll have time to come up with a reason to cancel. And I didn't, so I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'll drive and I'll go train with her once. And I've heard a lot of times when the value is great enough, the price doesn't matter. And what I got from that hour-and-a-half training session was absolutely incredible. Like, I've never learned so much. I've never had such a dramatic improvement in any technique, in any sport. And I kind of thought, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll come like once a month. I'll do a competition. And I did my first competition, and I placed 4th. And people are like, wow, you placed 4th. And I'm like, yeah, but I was only 5 lifts away from 3rd, and then I would have made the podium, and that kind of made me a little bit angry. So what I kind of did was, I'm like, all right, well, I'll do one more. And then I'm like, well, why don't I just do one more, because this is kind of fun. And then, I was standing in her gym, and she's like, because I thought, I was 44 years old when I started. And I'm like, 44-year-old women don't start powerlifting sports, number one. And number two, like, 44-year-old women, okay, so I might do it, but am I really competitive? And I was just standing there chatting one time, and she's like, oh, yeah, you could totally make Team USA. And I'm like, wait a minute. wait, like, can you say that again? Because, you know, and a lot of people don't really get Team USA in kettlebell sport is, you know, it's non-Olympic sport, but you've made the U.S. Olympic team. You've made the U.S. team that's going to go represent in world competition. And it was at that moment where I'm like, wait a minute, she's a 2-time world champion already. She knows what it takes. She sees something in me. I don't know what she saw because I've looked at videos from me at that time. And I would not have said, hey, you know, yeah, this person can make Team USA. But she's like, no, you could totally do it. So it was like from that moment, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make Team USA. And I had to learn a new lift because women only compete in snatch in international competition. So I had to learn the snatch and I started last September doing that. And in August, I'll be trying out for Team USA. So it was really about a year and a half ago where I went from recreational mediocre athlete to, you know, I show up at the competition and it's like, okay, you know, I got this. Like, this is cool. I know who else is competing. I got it. No problem.
And you, so you were starting out, your first one you said 4th place. And then
fourth place.
You started doing more, and I'm guessing you started placing higher, right?
Yeah, I've never finished off the podium outside of my first competition. So that was the only time I didn't finish in the top 3.
Well, I see
and I compete against women who are in their 20s. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Laying them. Well, I see
That's pretty awesome.
trophies in the background.
Yep, I got them up there.
Those?
So this one this is one of my favorites. This one I won at the Arnold Classic, and it earned me the title Pan American Gold Medalist. The Arnold Classic, yep. So that was Pan American Gold Medalist, and some of these I actually have to start writing on them because I don't remember where I got all of them from. And this is just some of them that I had hanging from this is right here. This is my gold medal in vintage strength from the Arnold. Yay! And then this is my gold medal in kettlebell sport from the Arnold. So some of them I know exactly where they're from. Others, let's see, these are written. Oh wait, yeah, so pretty awesome. I love them. I have them hanging from my mantle.
Now, the fact that you competed and dominated at Arnold's is pretty awesome. So can you kind of speak on that experience?
Oh my gosh. The Arnold's was like, it was so awesome. And I didn't really know what I was getting into before I went. I'm like, oh, it's another kettlebell competition, you know. Sure, there's going to be other stuff there, but who's not going for kettlebell? And then I saw in the group a lot of people were posting like, oh, who's going to the Arnold's? Who's going to be there? Like, let's meet up or hang out. And I'm like, wow, I guess there's going to be a lot of people there. And then I went to try to find a hotel, and I'm like, dang, there's going to be a lot of people here because I had to stay actually a little bit out. And so I went and I actually watched a friend do their fitness model competition, and he was one of the finalists. So that was a really cool way to start off. And then the first day I had the kettlebell competition, and it was a little bit overwhelming to have so many people there because most of the kettlebell competitions are, I call them my kettlebell family because I see them about once a month. And, you know, we're always liking, commenting on each other's videos and posts and stuff. So, you know, that's like really just a lot of people that I see once a month. It's an amazing community. Everybody is so competitive and supportive. And so I'm used to just having those people there, but there were thousands of people everywhere. And, you know, you got there, you couldn't even have the cab drop. You have to, like, walk 3 blocks in order to get there. You know, but one of the things that was really cool is the competitors get a special wristband that they keep for the entire weekend. And every time I walked around, I'm like, yep, I'm a competitor. Oh, wait, yeah, I'm a competitor. Like, oh, yeah, like, I'm competing. Like, okay, I'm a competitor. You can let me in. So that was really cool because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this is Jess, the, you know, middle-aged woman who is now a competitor at the Arnold Classic. Like, is this for real? And that's really what I feel like every time I go to a kettlebell competition, I have to, like, pinch myself and be like, is this really real? Am I really doing this? Am I really, you know, in three freaking weeks, oh my gosh, going to compete at nationals? And you know, my intent is I'm going to go up there and give it all I have, but the training regimen that I'm going for and the numbers that I'm looking for, I'm really going to compete for national champion. That's like that's the title I'm anticipating coming home with. So,
Well,
yeah,
it sounds like you're pretty dominant at this sport.
I I love it. There's a lot of really competitive women, and it's not easy, and it's definitely not going to be an easy quest, but based on the numbers, and it's kind of funny because I've always, I just talked about my weight, and um, like a lot of women are really self-conscious about their weight. Mine is posted up on the wall every competition. Everybody can see it. It's online. So I don't know. I don't have a problem. But I started stalking results, and I'm like, wait a minute. So if I compete in the weight class I'm in, the winning numbers were like up in the like 210 to 220. And I'm like, if I drop down a weight class, I can go under 200 and still I can still medal. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's really cool. So, people say, oh yeah, no big deal, drop a weight class. This was actually at the Arnolds, so March 5th and 6th was our competition. And at the time, I had 40 pounds to drop a weight class.
Wow.
And I just made the decision there. I'm like, hey, boom, done, like not even a question. I'm losing it. I now have 21 days and 9 pounds to go. So, there's been a significant drop there. And, a lot of people told me, oh, there's a lot of myths about nutrition. And they said, well, you can't do that without losing muscle. And I said, oh, cool, but I'm going to. And started working with a metabolic coach, which everybody says, what's that? And I'm like, okay, it's cool. And so I basically have documented that I've not lost in this whole process, I've not lost a pound of muscle. And my performance has actually increased. I've gotten personal records in my last, almost every workout is a personal record. So my performance is going up while I'm dropping 2 to 3 pounds a week. So,
go ahead, Larry.
What exercises or what exercises do you guys do to compete in the event? And I also had one other question: what type of what brand of kettlebells do you use?
Oh gosh, I use the funny part is I use all kinds of different brands. I'm not really picky. And what happened was when I broke up with my gym, which was where my kettlebells were, I needed something quickly and cheaply, so I got a brand of kettlebells called Perform Better. So I have a bunch of Perform Better kettlebells, and I think I have a what is it? A kettle. I'm looking over there because that's where my kettlebells are sitting. I have another brand called Kettlebell Kings, but the group that I compete with, the AKA the American Kettlebell Alliance, is making their own kettlebell, which will be coming out in the spring. So I'll be getting a new set from them. And the maces and clubs I use to compete are from a brand called ADX. So those are the brands I use. And they're GS competition kettlebells. They're not the regular fitness kettlebells. So they're all the same size, but they're a bunch of different weights. Yeah, so those are my kettlebells. I'm not really specific on kettlebell brands, but I do. My ADX clubs are absolutely phenomenal. They're my favorite.
Back to the Arnolds real quick.
Arnolds, absolutely.
What was it like competing in front of all those people? I mean, you said you were used to doing it in front of small groups of people that you knew, and then you went from that to thousands of people in this big, huge event. Did nerves kind of come into play, or did you just kind of thrive in that and under that stress?
I think the funny part when I compete is that I sort of go into, like, when I'm on the platform, like beforehand, like when I was out, before I even started warming up, it was a little overwhelming just to be, like, okay, well, I got to go to the bathroom, but I have to go through like 1,000 people to get there and get back, and do I have time? And so that was that was the most stressful. And then once I went to warm up, there was a warm up area that was behind a big curtain. And the funny part is because of the kettlebell, the size kettlebell I lift, and my body weight, I almost am always on the platform with the same, like there's 4 of us that tend to be on the platform together, and or in the flight together. We all have our own platforms. And one of them, her name is Svetlana Krajcek, and she is the U.S. record holder for everything. She is one of the most incredible women that I know, and she's absolutely awesome. My coach, Valerie Pulowski, a 2-time world champion, and Laura Kleidman, who is the current U.S. The U.S. record holder for the 24-kilogram weight class.
Now, what is it we're seeing here?
So what we're seeing here is the Midwest Regionals out in Michigan. Woo! And in the middle is my coach. So she's a world-class athlete. And I'm on the left there, all the way on the end. And I got my little Zumba butt going on there, which I'm convinced helps me with the mace. But that's the mace competition. That's my 4th gold medal in the mace. And, you know, it's kind of funny because I keep beating my coach, and my kettlebell coach, I should clarify that. We both started lifting mace at about the same time. So I keep beating her in this competition, and, you know, the first time we were just like, all right, well, this is just fun. The second time, I actually thought, I'm like, whatever, I don't think I'm going to win again, but I'm just going to go swing what I can. And, you know, then the third time, I think she got a little frustrated, and she's like, okay, like the third time, like I'm definitely winning. And she didn't. And, you know, this was the 4th time, and after this time, she's like, look, you're just better than me at this. Like, it's awesome. Congratulations. But it's kind of cool, you know, it's a really good lesson that I've learned in mindset here, is that I go on the platform with a mace, and I have absolutely no expectation. I have no anxiety. I really let go of control of the outcome. And it really just lets me focus on lifting and what I'm doing. And I get the job done every time. Whereas, you know, sometimes with a kettlebell, I put so much pressure on, because that's what I really train the most for. And I put so much pressure on myself that it's just not as much fun in the competition. Yeah, these are the last. She was really trying on this one.
Trying to beat you.
She totally improved here. Usually I beat her by 4, and this time it was only 3. So.
So what? Okay, so I guess that workout is pretty self-explanatory.
It's called a 10-to-2 lift. So it's like one side you go over like 10 o'clock your shoulder, the other side you go over, you know, your shoulder 12 o'clock, and one swing to the left, one swing to the right is a point. So, and you have to make sure your hands are down behind the base of your neck, and when you come back, your hand in the front, your hands have to cover your belly button.
Okay, so that's the mace, and then this is your specialty right here, right?
This is the weight that I'm going to compete at. It's actually an amateur weight. It's 16 kilograms, which is about 34 pounds. This is where I work out. It's my kitchen. And I went to the hardware store and I got the little compressed rubber mat. So it feels the same as when I'm on the platform. And this is the snatch. So I do that for 10 minutes. I'm allowed to change arms once. And the only place in this lift that I can stop to lift is with my arm fully extended over my head. So resting is standing there, you know, in this lift holding 35 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight to be slinging around like that. Doing this workout, I could see it hurting somebody if they do it wrong.
Absolutely.
How do you avoid injury when doing this?
So first of all, I think as with anything, you find yourself a coach who really knows what they're doing. Because the GS style kettlebell lifting, you know, if you notice, it's a lot more momentum with your body. So what I always, whenever I do something, I always find the person in my network who's the best at it. and I've gotten a lot of coaching. I started with an 8-kilogram bell, which is 16 pounds, and almost killed myself over 100 times, until I really got the motion down. And then once you have the technique down, then, it's cool to go ahead and move up in weight. I've actually done this with a 24-kilogram bell, which is 53 pounds. That's a professional weight, but I've never competed there. So it's mostly about good technique and using your body. That was a bad rep there. That was a better rep. Sorry. So what I'm looking for when I look at reps, if you notice, and it's actually really helpful that and I'm pointing to the screen as if you can see. So if you notice the doors in the back, they show the vertical. And when I drop down, I want my shoulders to go back behind the vertical. And so when I'm catching it, I'm actually catching my arm on my chest. So there shouldn't be, when my hips go back for the pendulum at the bottom, you shouldn't see any light in between the back of my arm, like you did right there, and the front of my body. That one was a little bit better. And then when I go up again, the trick is to pull back with, to push with my hips, pull back with my shoulders, and then the bell should be weightless from the time my arm leaves my hip to the time I catch it up at the top. So a lot of people say, oh, my arms would kill, that would kill my back. And honestly, it's mostly about the motion of my hips and the transfer of my weight from side to side is what's important and gives me good reps. Where I don't.
Besides those Adidas 2.0, which I have, those are awesome. I use those.
Oh yeah, I love those. Do you have them in pink as well?
No, I don't have them in pink. They sold out. I had to go in black.
That's a bummer.
So if someone wanted to get into, just lifting kettlebells, because this looks like an awesome workout you could do at home. Obviously, you're doing it in your kitchen.
Absolutely, like $100 a kettlebell, 2 or 3 of them, and that's pretty much all you need. A little bit of chalk, and you're good to go.
And it looks like a killer workout. We had Eric and Lynn Cox on the show. They're in the group, and they're really big into kettlebell workouts.
Yeah.
They love it, and they said, it's really helped transform their bodies, and they get great workouts every time. And I mean, look at you right there. You look beat. I don't know how long that was running for, but okay. And so I think this is another one, but from a different angle.
Yep, this is from the front, and depending on what my coach is looking for. So all of these videos are training sessions that I send to my coach. Because I train with her remotely, she'll send me my workout on a weekly basis, and I send her videos, and I get feedback. So this is at a lighter weight. This is a 12 kilograms. So the purpose of this one was basically just endurance and technique. So my goal was to move as fast as possible with good form. And when she's looking at it from the front, so what I'm looking for in the form here is that leg should be kicking up as it goes off my foot, and then I should have a nice, strong vertical lockout that's really close to my ear. Because if it's far out, it's cool with a 12 kilogram bell, but with a 20 kilo, as the weight gets higher, so it's really all about technique. It shouldn't matter what weight I'm using. It should all look exactly the same. So that's the goal.
Okay, and I'm trying to see, if someone's wanting to start off, you suggest they start with a light weight. Obviously, they don't want to just jump huge kettlebells like you're doing.
Right. So the trick is there's so many moving parts with this that when you start with a heavy weight, it's impossible to put all those moving parts in and to focus on the weight as well. So, and this is what frustrates, a lot of guys that start off, because they're like, oh, why are you lifting a heavy weight? Like, I'm big and strong. And it doesn't have as much to do with strength as it does to do with technique. So, a lot of the guys, especially because the competition 8 kilogram bells are pink, they don't want to start off with the pink kettlebells. I don't know why, because it's the prettiest color in the world. But, it's really, really important to move up slowly. I kind of made the mistake. I moved up the weights too quickly, and I really suffered for a couple of months. I had some significant injuries. I had tendonitis in both of my forearms. I could barely hold a pencil and write. And it was really because I moved up too quickly and, didn't really give my body enough time to adjust. So it's almost like the slower you move, the better in the long run.
Okay. So start off light.
Start off light. Definitely find a coach that does GS kettlebell sport. So, it's a completely different thing. I don't know, I can definitely recommend coaches to people. I don't coach kettlebells at all. I can train for vintage strength, but kettlebells are really out of my expertise right now. Start light, focus on technique, step by step. And it's frustrating in the beginning because you're like, oh, I want to move faster. I want to do big sets. Like, I want to do more sets. I want to do more weight. But until you, just get the technique 100% clean and then start moving up the weight. Because once you have technique, the adding weight is like nothing.
And it's kind of similar with, just weightlifting in general or, powerlifting, things like that. You don't just go in the gym and go, you know what, I'm going to deadlift, 405 or something and just jump on it. You're gonna kill yourself.
Right.
So that's good advice. You have a YouTube channel or something people can check out and maybe.
I do. It's my YouTube channel is JessicaLynnLifestyle.
Okay.
And I can post a link for that in the group when we're done.
And I think the videos, we can put the links on this video as well. So anybody interested in checking you out and kind of want to learn more of what you do or how to get into it, we'll have your contact info there so they can reach out to you and check out your content.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've pretty much dominated since you've gotten into this thing. You competed at Arnolds. You have you have a trophy case full of gold medals, which is awesome.
I love them.
Moving forward, you're trying to compete for Team USA, right?
Oh yeah, August 5th, Team USA. I'm really, really excited about it. It's strictly a kettlebell competition, so there's absolutely no mace there whatsoever, which is a little sad because I love competing in mace, but I'll be all right. And it'll be actually nice because now I'm completely focusing on one event. It's lighter than I've been, it's a lighter kettlebell because for Team USA World Competition, women have 2 weights to compete with. It's either the 24 kilogram, which is a professional division. There's 1 professional that goes in each weight category. And then the amateur competition, which will be 3 to 5 women who will be allowed to go for Team USA. And the amateur, when you compete at Worlds, you have, in order to earn points for the team, you have to place first. So the first place amateur is the only one that earns points for the team. So, I don't want to travel all the way to Kazakhstan and not earn points for the team. That seems kind of crazy. But, so I'll be competing for essentially the U.S. national team.
And this is in Kazakhstan?
The U.S. nationals are in Chicago.
Okay.
And then Team USA will travel to Kazakhstan to compete for Worlds. So.
And when is that?
It's in October, so right around Halloween is going to be World Championships.
And what is Worlds?
So it's basically like any international, any world class sport, track and field, gymnastics, weightlifting, any of those sports that would have an Olympic competition. So it's like the Olympics of kettlebell sport.
I got you. So is that like the ultimate like competition stage?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's for me, again, I cannot believe this whole process is real, because legit I compete against women half my age, and I think it's absolutely awesome that I can even sit here and say, hey, I'm going to U.S. Nationals and be competitive there nonetheless. But seriously, I'm going to be at US Worlds, and I've already seen the numbers other people can put up, and I can't put them up today, but I've got, another 4 months to do that. And I'm like, oh my, like, I don't know. I can't even describe how amazing it is to find a sport that literally, and some of my friends have said to me, they're like, I don't get why this whole kettlebell thing is so cool, but hey, you love it, and it completely consumes literally every day. I'm either eating to perform, I'm training, I'm traveling to compete, I'm traveling to train. And, my friends are like, oh, yeah, we come after kettlebells now. I'm like, yes, I'm glad you understand it.
Well, I mean, you found a passion, and that's
Yeah,
what life is really all about. Find something that you love and run with it. So
absolutely.
you talked about eating to train and things like that.
Yep.
Talk to me about how this metabolic coach. What is that? Was that all about?
Okay, so I got involved in the nutritional company. I had a great weight loss story. And then what I found was my body was like, okay, well, that was cool in the beginning, but we're not losing any more weight. And in fact, we're going to put some of that weight back on. And I'm like, okay, well, like, I'm a power lifter now. Like, that's cool. Like, I don't mind putting the weight back on. And then at the Arnolds, I weighed in again. So I'd gotten down to 165 at the lowest. And the Arnolds, I weighed in at 187, 188 pounds, I think. And I was just like, holy crap, like, this is ridiculous. So I have a background in the medical field. My undergraduate degree is in medical technology. And so it's basically like human biochemistry. And my master's degree is in exercise science with a specialty in human physiology. So people are like, oh, great, you can be a trainer. I'm like, no, not so much training, but when you're lifting, I can tell you the chemical reactions that are going on in your body. So I reached out to a friend, and I started doing this, what he called metabolic coaching. And I'm like, cool, I've tried everything else. This has got to work. So it's a combination of physiologic measuring, so resting metabolic rate and respiratory quotient, basically telling me how many calories I'm burning and whether I'm burning carbohydrates, proteins, or fats based on the air that I'm inhaling and exhaling. And it's monitoring weight every day, which a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't get on the scale every day. Like, that's a bad thing. And I'm like, okay, that would be one opinion. And it started off with monitoring absolutely every piece of food that went into my body. So I would track it in the company's app. And then what we would do is we'd look at my fat burning state. And number one, am I in a fat burning state? And I'm not burning proteins or carbs. And so that's really important to adjust foods so that I get into a fat burning state. And then the last part is basically looking at the changes in my body composition. So am I gaining muscle? Am I losing muscle? Am I gaining fat? Am I losing fat? Am I gaining or losing weight overall? And then a detailed analysis of the foods that I've eaten to really talk about, okay, well, if I want to build muscle, what exactly do my macros have to be? If I want to drop fat, what do my macros have to be? Because a lot of times I see, even in the group, people are be like, oh, like, what do I eat for macros? And it's like, well, go to this magazine or go to this website. Yeah. And a lot of them, like, you punch in your height, weight, and activity, and it spits out a number. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool, but not for nothing. But if I ate those macros, I'd be big as a house. And then what I started noticing is that the way my body uses certain things, the way my body, for example, and this is like not even funny, because I love carbs, like I love bread, I love things that have carbs in them, and my body loves carbs too, on my hips, thighs, and butt and stomach. And it's like literally I'll smell a carbohydrate and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, great, that's 3 pounds that I just gained. So what I found out with this metabolic coaching, so it's a really detailed analysis of what you eat, how it reacts in your body, and figuring out what the exact macronutrients for your goals are. Because some people, want to build muscle. I want to build muscle and lose weight, which a lot of people say that's impossible. And I'm like, okay, cool. I did it, and I can document, to anybody who doubts it. So that's what I really started doing, and that's how I've lost since the Arnolds, I've lost 30 pounds, 31 pounds actually. What is that? March, April, May, June, July, in 4 months. And I've got another 9 to go before I weigh in at nationals. So, you know, I love it. I haven't sacrificed any muscle at all. And now it's what I work with clients to do, to figure out how they can get to their goals, because a lot of people get stuck because they get wrapped up in, you know, things like MyFitnessPal, which will just take a, you know, general statement and say, you know, this is how many calories you should eat. I can be honest with you, I have no idea how many calories I eat. I have no idea how many grams of fat I eat in a day, but I know that I eat between 75 and 80 grams of protein. That's it, which people say, no, you can't, you need more protein. Okay, I don't. And probably, and this is the number that like people choke at, between 20 to 40 grams of carbs a day, and that's it. So that's how I fuel myself. I know. You're like,
So,
wait, I breathe and I eat 20 grams of carbs.
yeah, you're doing 70-something grams of protein, 20-something carbs. So your diet is high in fat, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great. So, and again, you know, I could be eating bacon and all kinds of stuff, but, you know, I think the obvious answer to anyone who knows anything about nutrition is that, you know, fruit or vegetables, you know, still lean meats. You know, I do eat a lot of dairy because that's high in fat and it helps me out. And I actually add oil to my shakes that I drink every day. So I add like a metabolic oil. So that's probably about another 20 to 30 grams of fat.
So are you in a state of ketosis?
I am in a state of ketosis, absolutely.
Okay, so you're doing like for you, you're doing like the whole keto. It's funny because we find more and more, like a lot of people who, you know, do bodybuilding, they're like, stay away from keto, you can't be in it too long. And in reality, you can be in ketosis your whole life. Like babies are in ketosis when they're born and they breastfeed, you know, so you can be in it. You know, it's a different style, but you definitely have more energy. Have you found that since you've been doing it, you have a lot of energy to compete?
I mean, I definitely have a lot of energy to compete. I, you know, compete against some of the top women in the world, and I do really well. So what I found and what I find with my clients is that not everybody is the same, and I think that's one thing that some people get lost in nutrition, is that not everybody is the same. I do really, really well in ketosis. You know, some of my clients eat between 100 and 150 grams of carbs a day, and they lose weight, and I'm so jealous. Like, I would love to be them. I would love to be able to do that, but that just doesn't work for me. But yeah, I have tons of energy. And if you look at the metabolics of it, if you look at the, you know, calories per gram, if you look at the availability of energy, I think the difference that people don't understand is if you don't train your body to metabolize fat and you just cut off other sources of energy, your body kind of goes into a state of panic, and then you know, the hormones, the cortisol is going to go up. But if you've taken the time, if you've gone through the process, if you've given your body essential fatty acids, and it knows how to, and it has the enzymes to metabolize fat, I can get a ton of energy from fat. That, you know, and you think about it, I have a 10-minute competition, and, you know, carbs, it's kind of a unique competition because it's not just like, okay, cool, bam, I lift weight and I'm done.
Yeah.
It's, okay, now do that 199 more times. So it's definitely not a one and done. I do have a lot of muscular endurance that is required to compete. So I find that being in ketosis gives me the right kind of energy that lasts me for the whole time. So yeah, I would definitely agree. You know, it's per person, it's per athlete. It depends on, you know, what they're doing, but I love it. I feel great.
Well, training yourself in this metabolic, what is it called? Metabolic. You said.
I call myself a metabolic coach.
Oh, okay. Training yourself and then training others. It sounds super complex. Sounds like there's a lot of, you're sitting down doing a lot of calculations and looking at a lot of different things, pictures and like you said, the food and the person in general, their stats and is that it's not for everyone. And no one can just go in there and go, okay, I'm going to do the metabolic coach thing and do it themselves if they don't know doing like you do. So you do the coaching though. So if someone would reach out to you and hire you to show them how to do this, you'd be available for that.
Absolutely. The only thing I will say is, like you said, it's definitely not for everybody. And one of the things I tell my clients up front is that if you're not willing to track your food and weigh yourself every day and track that on a daily basis, then, I'm huge about it. And it's almost funny because I think I talk more people out of coaching with me than, I talk more people out of it than into it, because my thing is I don't want to waste your time or mine. I don't want to waste your money. And I'm going to be right up front. You have to track everything. And the cool part about it is it's massively data-driven. And I never thought when I started with the process that, if you had told me right off the bat, like, this is how many carbs you're going to eat in 6 months, I would have been like, thanks, I'm going to burn your house down. I hate you. Go, jump in a lake. And so it was through the tracking. And it's kind of cool because when somebody explains it to you, and I look at it myself now, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can choose whatever I want to eat, but if this is what my goal is, this is what my numbers have to be. And that's what I really try to train my clients to do for themselves. And in the beginning, yeah, there's a lot of background. And, I've probably spent over $100,000 and I don't know how many hours at school learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, I finally have this application that I am absolutely passionate about to use all that information for, because I've worked in hospitals, I've worked in a bunch of different labs, and it's just really that last piece that I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is how I can use it and really fine tune. And it's not a guessing game, because without all the information that I have, it's a complete guessing game. And I love when my clients are like, oh, well, I ate that ice cream, but I didn't want to put it down. I'm like, and you think I didn't know it based on what happened to your numbers?
Yeah.
So it's really someone who's going to be completely honest, completely committed to the process, and then, I can kind of teach them to figure stuff out for themselves. So it's not like an endless thing where I keep people hanging on and, ooh, it's a secret how I'm figuring this out. Like, I sit down and I point out, this is exactly where I'm getting the information from. And, do you see this fluctuation? And then look at these things that you ate, what do you think you want to do about it next week? And that's what my coach did with me. And I said, heck yeah, we're dropping the floor out of the carbs, and I'll just smell them from now on. So
somebody, you had all these tools, you just didn't realize
yeah,
it was building towards, and it kind of came to you. I'm guessing you met a coach who was already doing this?
Yeah, I actually worked with a coach in the beginning, and I mean, it was absolutely amazing because I could sit there and, throw stuff out, like all these, I don't remember, one time I actually, I asked him a question about, I don't remember what it was, but it was very scientific, a very scientific question about what was happening. And he just kind of looked at me with his mouth open, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean to insult you. He's like, no, this is awesome because you actually understand what I'm saying. So it was working with somebody where I finally figured out, wait a minute, I know all this stuff. And then when I really started to put it into place, because it's kind of funny, tell me I can't do something and it's just going to make me figure out how to do it. Wow. And, when I first started, I first told him I wanted to drop weight. He's like, well, okay, but I don't know if you can do it. And I'm like, what? Say that you don't know if I can do it? Okay, let me show you exactly how this is going to happen. So, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, I worked with somebody and then figured out, wait a minute, I know all this stuff, so let's just do it for myself.
Yeah, you had that ta-da moment in
Mm,
history, huh? All right.
right. So
Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up.
awesome.
Is I gotta say that you're one of the most interesting guests we've had. I mean, not to take anything away from our previous guests, but your area of expertise and
Cool.
your what you compete in is definitely really unique, and you don't see that a lot. So
Cool.
you definitely didn't disappoint. It's been a very interesting show. Learned
Awesome.
a
Thank you so much.
lot.
Definitely. That's why we named the show Renaissance Man, because a Renaissance man is a person with various education from all different walks of life, and your skill and so many different things when it comes to fitness and nutrition was just unique in itself, and
Cool.
your bio definitely. So
Larry's really good at making these names go. And at first I read it
Awesome.
and I was like, Renaissance man, he's a woman. I was like, go look at the definition. I was like, oh, okay.
I love it. Yeah, no, and I thank you for the opportunity. And just like a quick plug out there, so this is worldwide opportunity. We're going to be starting on Mondays, 8 weeks of vintage strength Mason club training. So in Vegas in September, there's going to be a huge American Kettlebell Alliance competition, and we're starting an online class to teach people basically how to safely and successfully get to the platform with our maces. And so if anyone wants to learn more about it, jump in the class. We still have spots open, and that'll be starting in a week or so.
Okay.
So that's a great opportunity to learn more. You said, how do people get started? That's one way. That's my coach in the background. That's one of the only times she hasn't been competing with me. That was last August, obviously before I started dropping weight.
This is the
But
one you smoked in that Mace video, right?
yeah, this is a woman I smoked, and you can see she's got her Team USA jacket on. Um, so there's actually one of the guys in the back warming up with double bells. That's a pained look of seriously, but I loved how my arm looked in that picture. I love because my arm is under tension there. I'm like, wow, I even have muscles in my forearm. That's pretty awesome. So that was why I put that picture in. I have some that are like the thrill of victory, and then others are the agony of defeat.
The way I see it is, if it's not ugly, then you're not doing it right.
Oh yeah, and one thing I like, people kind of tell me I should have a separate entry fee for my hair. That's a pretty normal picture, but sometimes it's like sticking straight up. I'm like, I love it. It's the best.
Well, I was gonna say this picture right here we used for the event invite.
Yeah, that was. I got to be honest with you. That was the agony of defeat. That was this December. It's funny how it like you look at it, you're like you're wearing the same clothes, you have the same color shoes, same bell. But that was actually the holiday competition, December 15th, and I was not happy with that performance. But like you said, every time I compete, every time I even do a set, I'm completely winded there. So yeah, so that's the crazy hair picture with a little curly Q up on top. I don't even know how it gets there, but and in the back there, that's one of the women I always compete with. Her name is Lorna. She's the U.S. national record holder for the 24 kilogram bell. But yeah, and that was another. I am not very happy with how this just ended. Face.
These are epic pictures, though. Like they're just very raw and real.
Yeah, this was my favorite. So that's again my coach Valerie in the middle with me, the one I smoke in mace competition a lot. And then right next to me is Yuri Petsanov, and he's the president of the American Kettlebell Alliance. He's from right here in Connecticut. And then the guy on the other side is Alexander Bodrov, and he's on the American Kettlebell executive team as well. And he's actually from right here in Connecticut too. So it's really kind of funny. I never knew Connecticut was such a hot spot for kettlebell sport. But there's us. That's after the Mace competition. So those are our vintage strength awards. And that was actually from the Arnolds. So that was a really cool. Like the Mace is always second. So once that's over, everything's over, and it's just time for fun. But yeah, I love that picture because of Alex and Yuri on both end there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, Arnold's. All right.
Yeah.
So, you kind of got a plug in earlier. Go ahead and get the rest of your plugs out. You know, if people want to get a hold of you, either to follow you,
Absolutely.
check out your social media, your videos, things like that.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
So the best way to follow me is on Facebook. It's Jessica Huttig, Huttig. You can find me. I have a picture of me. I'm in a pink shirt with my hand up in the air with a kettlebell, because what else would I have up there? But feel free to friend me on Facebook. I love fitness people. And basically what I do with people, you know, I'm really plugging for the metabolic coaching, because I think it's one thing that people don't realize, how helpful it can be. I work with everybody. I have a couple of Ironman, Iron Woman triathletes. I work with a semi-pro basketball player. And I work with a lot of middle-aged women who are like, I can't freaking lose weight. Help me, tell me what to do. So I really kind of run the full spectrum, because what I do, it doesn't matter who you are. Whatever your goals are, if you're willing to take the data, I can explain what that data means and teach you how to use it. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that's huge, and you can follow me on Facebook as well and get all the information for that, is my vintage strength training. And what we're really trying to do with that is make everything online, so that it's an online course that you do in the comfort of your own home. We have Rick the Mace Man Brown from California teaching. Anyone's into mace really knows who he is. And then Don Giaffredino from Florida is another one of the instructors, and he actually invented the mace in the club that's used in competition. So that's actually kind of cool. Those are big names. And then myself, the 4-time gold medalist, I'll plug that in, and the Viking Princess, and my coach are the other trainers on that as well. So, you know, follow me on Facebook. All those events are listed. I post, and I just love positive, happy, healthy people following me on Facebook too. So
Well,
that's why I
we'll
love being part of the group.
here. Anyone who's watching this video, Jessica, just send me like all your links. Like,
Okay.
any way to get a hold of you or reach out and get your services, things like that, and we'll post all that on this video. So check the video description, and all that will be there, and you can follow and check out Jessica. Now, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, my sponsors, basically my nutritional company, Isogenics, best nutrition that has really powered me. In my opinion, the proof is in the pudding. Like, success leaves clues. Yep, that's me on Facebook. I love that picture. It's one of the best pictures that has ever been captured of me in kettlebell sport. You know, and I look at 3 out of the 4 top lifters in the U.S. are using Isogenics. So those are my sponsors, Isogenics. I'm on the last criteria for being a professional athlete with them, so I'm really excited about that. And, you know, pretty much that's my only sponsor right now, and I love them to pieces.
Awesome.
So thank you for that opportunity as well.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and say goodbye. I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was an awesome show. Learned a lot. Look forward to hearing your story coming up forward. Your competition in August and October, all that good stuff.
Yeah, actually, that guy right there is Aaron Hairston. He's another Connecticut native. He was a semi-pro football player, blew out his knee, and could not go to Giants training camp. So he started in Isogenics. He and his brother are pro figure competitors now. But yeah, awesome before and after pictures. Thank you for posting that. Appreciate it.
Definitely. All right. Well, unless you have anything else, we'll let you go. I really appreciate coming on the show, and keep us posted on your competitions. Look forward.
Absolutely. Will do, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate you guys and everything you do for, you know, Powerful athletes and the awesome community that you guys have built. So thank you for that. Thumbs up.
Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for an awesome show.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
All right. See you
Good
later.
night.
All right. Yeah, good show. All right, so Larry, take it away.
Man, on the spot, you know, give me a few seconds, do something real quick to mesmerize everybody. Yeah, while I load stuff up. Yeah.
Now that was an awesome show, though, man. That metabolic coaching sounds very interesting. I think it would really help a lot of people out there because it's so science based and so intricate and to the T that you're almost guaranteed to get results. And especially the way she talks, you can tell she's serious about her craft and she's very knowledgeable and experienced in what she does. So anybody out there, you're having a hard time losing weight, or you just want to become a better, or not a better, but feel your workouts better, take your game to the next level, and you're willing to commit to something like that, get a hold of Jessica. I'm sure she can help you do that.
Yeah, and for anybody, I mean, we've had a lot of great guests on here, in general that do awesome things. Lynn, they do the whole kettlebell thing, and I believe they were upping that and starting to teach that. So definitely, if you guys are looking for that, we've had other nutritional coaches on here that are just phenomenal. Stacy, to name a few. So yeah, definitely, if you guys are looking for someone, look in the group. We have awesome people in the group, awesome people on the show. Look at any other shows. If someone resonates with you, definitely hit them up. They'd be more than happy for you to talk with them. Richard for Mental Game. I mean, that guy was phenomenal. Just even talking about how he lived. Yep, with just his mental focus in that. I think if you're having a hard time with that and everything, trying to tap into something else in general, hit him up. I believe he should be coming out with a book sometime this year to talk about it, but I know he's probably looking for clients too for that. The list just goes on, and awesome people that we've had on the show. If you're looking for anything, Kim Jones, Miss Strength herself. I should call her that, Miss Strength.
Strength. Yeah. I mean, every video we bring someone unique on the show. And in most of the videos, they tell you how to get a hold of them. But if for some reason that failed to happen, reach out to us and we'll get you in contact with these people. The Barbell Life community is all about amazing people doing amazing things. And they're all out willing to help and take your game to the next level, whether it be losing weight, getting strong, competing, things like that. So check out the videos. We have so many more guests in store. It's not going to stop. So, and if you're watching this and you want to be on the show and you have something really valuable or a great story to tell, reach out to us and we'll put you on. So
if you haven't seen Chris's video, another great person, he talked about, Chris Albert, another great one that talked about various different stuff, including diet. A shout out to Mighty Mike. I know he's going to be doing a competition shortly, so always a shout out to that guy. Having him on the show, that was pretty awesome. So we've just had awesome people, and I know I'm missing people here and haven't given everybody a shout out. The list is definitely long. So we have something for everybody, essentially. If you're looking for something, motivation, Crip has been on the show, talking about muscular dystrophy and how he's, made it through that, along with various other people that have, had other injuries and have done well. Another person, Jerry, a big shout out to Jerry. Jerry's just been doing big things, so you guys definitely look out for Jerry.
I feel like we're doing an anniversary episode where we're doing a recap of every guest and going down memory lane.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out because there's just so many awesome
Yeah, we have
people.
so many awesome people that have been on the show. We have so many awesome people that are in the Barbell Life community family. And this thing's not going to stop. We have so much more in store. I mean, just to give you guys a glimpse in what we've got planned, we have the supplements dropping. We're building the clothing line, which will blow up here soon. We're going to be doing meet and greets where everyone from the group can get together. We're going to have an event. We're going to have a special guest. We're going to do, we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk. We're going to do things. It's going to be awesome. We're trying to come up with a gyms. Our website's about to launch. I mean, there's just so many things. We're going to be doing amazing things. So everyone who's out there watching this, thank you for the support. Thank you for, having our backs and just being part of this family. It means a lot. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, and I know people have been waiting for our supplements, so you guys have heard it. We're dropping this week, we're dropping that, and we've had delays. It's a new experience for us, so anybody who's ever had a chance or has started in the supplement industry, it could be painful. It's a lot of processes, new processes for us to understand and an industry for us to understand. So it's been a bit of delay. We would get, pretty soon. So hopefully shortly. I mean, we're just as eager as you guys to get these out here. As you guys know, we've talked about Thermite is going to be our fat burner. And once these get closer and the labels get approved, that's what we're waiting on. To be able to announce the ingredients for you guys, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what's the ingredients in it? Well, we want to tell you, but we can't officially tell you until the label gets signed off. So as soon as that happens, definitely we'll get it to you guys and let you guys know what's in these things. Plutonium is going to be our pre-workout, and our post-workout here is going to be chain reaction. I want to convey to you guys these are all natural, and that we didn't go with any synthetics. We didn't go with any artificial sweeteners or anything like that. We decided not to do any of that stuff because what we wanted to more or less, give you guys a natural product. Because we care about what goes in our body, and we want, to treat you guys the same way that we treat our bodies, giving you guys the best and help you guys perform. So that's a lot of what's behind barbell nutrition in general, trying to create that supplement that's going to be all natural, that's going to work for you during your workout and everything else like that. So bear with us, we'll get those. And like Tony said, we just have so many irons in the fire right now where, things are about to start dropping with, getting apparel going, getting the website form, going also. So there's just a lot of things that we have going. And of course, the podcast, we're here now, on episode 24. When we started, Tony was like, what the heck are we podcast? What are you talking about? I was like, podcast.
Always.
Yeah.
On the supplements, though, like real quick, and then we'll wrap up. We went all natural. We didn't have to do that. It's cheaper to not go all natural and use cheap ingredients. Like Larry said, synthetics and additives and artificial sweeteners and all that stuff. And it'd be cheaper for us. And the majority of the lines out there do that. And they save a lot of money, therefore they make more money. But our reasoning is, if we want to use it ourselves, why would we give that to you? And we practice what we preach. We have the Holistic and Happy group where we talk about, doing more plant-based, treatments and things like that. And
just natural solutions.
Yeah, just like the group. We try to separate ourselves from others. We try to do things different. And this is just another example of us doing that. We want to make a line that's, reasonably priced, but at the same time offering a healthy source of, supplementation. And that's what Barbell Nutrition is. And Larry showed you the 3 products we have. We actually have a 4th product that we're going to drop here soon and surprise you guys with. We're just waiting to put out that email. But other than that, unless you got something, Larry, let's call this thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. And, thank you guys each week for tuning in and, making the show what it is, because definitely without you guys watching and everything, and if you guys see something or, or anything like that you guys think, hey, I want to see this on the show, would you guys talk about this topic or something like that, please let us know so we can get that on the show. You can, PM myself or Tony or anything like that. And we definitely want to, continue to bring you guys fitness content that, is going to work for you guys. Something that you guys are going to benefit from. If you guys see somebody in the community that's doing something awesome and you guys think, hey, why isn't this person on the show? Definitely link us up with that person. We'd like to get their stories out there and everything else. So I won't take too much more time of you guys, but definitely it's always great to have these shows, and I'm thankful that you guys tune in, and they've been of great value. Go ahead, Tom.
BarbellNutrition.com. Get on the newsletter. All the things I talked about that we have in store, that will be your source to find out about these things, to get discounts on the supplements, to get firsthand information before anybody else, discounts on the clothing line, all that. And that's really all I got, man. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay.